Psychological thriller is a genre combining the thriller and the psychological fiction genres. It is commonly used to describe literature or films that deal with psychological narratives in a thriller. Simply put, these are films that will keep you in a gripping atmosphere throughout the entire film and will terrify you with their cruelty and fearlessness in showing these brutal moments. Let's see what these films are. The story unfolds on July 4, 1969, when an unknown person shoots a couple in love on the outskirts of Vallejo, California. Months later, major newspapers begin receiving encrypted letters in which the killer, calling himself the Zodiac, threatens to kill 12 more people unless the text of the letter, containing the secret of his identity, is published on the front page. In addition to police officers from different states, seasoned San Francisco Chronicle reporter Paul Avery, played by RDJ, and young cartoonist Robert Graysmith, played by Jake Gyllenhaal, who works for the same newspaper, join the investigation. Soon, the killer strikes again. David Fincher is the king of psychological thrillers, and this one is no different. The Zodiac maintains a tense atmosphere until the end. The helplessness and the fear in the people of San Francisco are shown very well. Even though the maniac who has not yet been caught and little is known about him, despite that, the movie showed a very realistic maniac. And of course, the excellent acting of RDJ and Jake Gyllenhaal, to which Mark Ruffalo was added, this movie is definitely suitable for watching in the evening. The story of this film takes place in the state of Massachusetts. Two American marshals are sent to an island to investigate the disappearance of a patient at a hospital for the criminally insane. During their investigation, they must face a web of lies, a hurricane, and a deadly riot by the hospital's residents. You can't talk about this movie without adding spoilers. This movie is too good. Why can't it be? The duo of Leonardo DiCaprio and Martin Scorsese strikes again. This is their fourth movie together. There's really nothing to talk about this film other than just telling you guys to watch it. The gloomy atmosphere and shocking end will give you emotions that only few movies can give. The Wind River is the least popular in this list, but it does mean it's less worth watching. The movie is surprisingly good. Wyoming. On the Wind River Indian Reservation, gamekeeper Corey Lambert, played by Jeremy Renner, finds the mutilated body of a girl. Young FBI agent Jane Banner, played by Elizabeth Olsen, who is unfamiliar with the behavior and customs, asks Corey to help catch the killer. Before long, Corey will inevitably have to face his own past, while at the same time both he and Jane are thirsting to see justice done. Taylor Sheridan has done a great job once again, showing the profound beauty of the United States. His work with Sicario and Hell of High Water gave him opportunities to direct his own film, and he nailed it. There we go, we got to the fourth film. This one for me was the hardest to watch because of the number of violent scenes and tense situations, especially in the scene on the road with the car chase. You will see when you watch it. As for the main story, a story inside a story, in which the first part follows a woman named Susan who receives a book manuscript from her ex-husband, a man she left 20 years earlier, asking for her opinion. The second element follows the actual manuscript called Nocturnal Animals, which revolves around a man whose family vacation turns violent and deadly. It also continues to follow the story of Susan, who finds herself recalling her first marriage and confronting some dark truths about herself. If you want to experience watching something brutal, this movie will deliver on that note. Along with Shutter Island, it is one of the most popular thrillers in the world, and for a reason. Not only is it one of the most popular ones, but I would dare to say that it's one of the most influential movies in the genre. Tons of references and copying the style of the movie are examples of that. Based on Stephen King's book, the story unfolds around Jack Torrance, an aspiring author and recovering alcoholic. After landing a job as an off-season caretaker, he drugs his wife Wendy and gifted son Danny to snow-covered Colorado's secluded Overlook Hotel. However, writer's block prevents Jack from pursuing a new writing career. Everything has its time, however. First, the manager must give a Jack grand tour. Then, Mr. Holloran, the facility agent chief, chats with Danny about rare psychic gifts. The mysterious employee also warns the boy about the cavernous hotel's abandoned rooms. Room 237 especially is off limits. That's all very well, but Jack is gradually losing his mind. And now, incessant voices inside Jack's head demand sacrifice. The brilliant acting of Jack Nicholson is the main reason why you want to watch this movie. And the equally brilliant acting of the actors, coupled with the excellent directing work of Kubrick, will give you unforgettable emotions. The main character is Danny Torrance, the same boy from The Shining, who has grown up and been broken by the horrors of his past. He is still traumatized by the events at the Overlook Hotel, where his father went crazy under the influence of supernatural forces. Danny suffers from alcoholism, nightmares, and tries to forget his childhood, but soon he meets a girl named Abra, who has the same gift as he does, The Shining. A group of mystical creatures called the True Nut, led by the charismatic, cruel Rose the Hat, begins to hunt her. These creatures feed on the shining of children, killing them to prolong their lives. Danny is forced to become become her protector and enter into a fight with the past, fears, and real enemies, returning to the dark corridors of the Overlook Hotel to complete the story. Dr. Sleep brings Danny's emotional arc to a close, making The Shining's ending feel more human and meaningful. There are fewer cheap jump scares, more unsettling atmosphere, and a stronger character. Ewan McGregor gives a restrained, mature performance as the adult Danny, and Rebecca Ferguson is a vivid and frightening antagonist as the Rose ahead. If you like slow, atmospheric horror that works on an emotional and narrative level rather than just being scary, Dr. Sleep gives you not only a sequel to The Shining, but also a new, mature story about struggling with your inner demons. Get Out is not just a horror film, but a social thriller that took the genre to a new level. Jordan Peele's debut work as a director. It immediately became a cult classic and won an Oscar for Best Original Screenplay, as well as the recognition as a smart, tense, and meaningful film. The main character is Chris, a young African-American who goes to meet the parents of his white girlfriend Rose. At first, everything seems nice and friendly. Gradually, he begins to notice something very strange in the behavior of her family and those around her. The servants are black, but they behave like robots. The girl's father said that he would vote for Obama for the third time. Everything seems too tolerant, and this is already scary. And then Chris falls into a trap that turns out to be much scarier and deeper than the racism on the surface, literally. Get Out exposes the hidden, liberal racism that masquerades as progressiveness and tolerance. The film shows that danger does not always come in the form of open hatred, sometimes it hides behind polite smiles. This is an original film, not a remake, not a sequel, not a screen adaptation, but an independent art house film. It changes the perception of the genre. After it, you look at the horror not only as entertainment, but also as a form of expression. Get Out is a film that stays with you after watching, makes you think, rewatch, and discuss. This is a film that scares intelligently, and this is what makes it especially gripping. These are some of the best psychological thrillers. If you like such a disturbing atmosphere, violent scenes, and shocking plot, these movies are worth watching. But if you can't watch them physically, or you are nervous, and if you think that will bring you trauma or nightmares, there are other great movies that will give you emotions without violence and violent scenes. But when it comes to thrillers, I recommend watching these 7 movies.